Hello guys, this is Dr. Fix. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to drive a car. And this is not going to be a manual car, but it has some sort of element of manual to it because this is a DSG dual clutch system, transmission system. So you have the tendency of driving manual, but it doesn't have clutch. It's a clutchless manual system as much as automatic. So it's gonna be a double advantage because I'm gonna be teaching you the simple basic you need to understand. So the first thing first is opening the door, and the second thing which you need to do is to get the key. Before getting the key into the ignition, you need to fasten your seat belt, which is somewhere always at the side here. You just need to pull it. Don't drive it, don't pull it fast. If you pull it fast, it's gonna activate. So just gently pull it. And the reason for the seat belt is not because of police, but because of your own safety. So you get it pinned in place here. And this is how it should be. Then the next thing you want to do in some car that are manual transmission system, I mean the glasses are not automatic, that I can't set automatic, then you're gonna go ahead and set your glass, then set your seat. The setting of this seat, you can find it somewhere around here, so you can pull it up to take you up so you can be able to sit. You need to be very comfortable before you start thinking about how to drive. You need to be comfortable, let nothing should bother you really much. Then you want to set the two side mirror, this one here, to be able to see who is coming behind. Then the other one to see also. Then you have the center one. Unfortunately, this very car doesn't have the center one was pulled out. I don't know, for some certain reason. Then once you have it set that you can be able to sit, and you can be able to see your rear, see what is going on at your back, then you're good. Then the next thing is to get your key in the ignition. For most cars, you might need to, if it is a touch system where you need to push a smart key system, that you need to push button before you start, it's going to require you to step on the brake pedal, because the ECM want to know that the car is fully not moving before it's going to move. Then the next thing, you want to have the shifter. Make sure that the shifter is in park, and you can do that by pressing this button and dragging to it. In some cars, if the ignition is not on, it's not going to allow you to shift this, just like this very car here, because it's locked up. The computer, make sure that it's locked up. So you want to go ahead and put it on ignition 1 and pay attention to the dashboard. Then put it to 2. You need to allow it to like 1 minute in some car case to actually allow the ECM, the fuel prime, everything should be done with. Sometimes this light has to trigger off before you can go ahead and start it. So go ahead and start it. Okay, for some car model like Mercedes, you might not need to start it like that. You just need to turn it and release your hand and it should start. But this one, you just need to start it, and as soon as it starts, then you leave it. So here we go. You can see it's indicating that the shifter is in park, which is this guy right here is in park. So at this very point right now, you can remove your leg from the brake. Now have your left hand, if suppose this is American spec you're driving, or German, on the steering. Most of my own best teaching, I prefer you holding the steering like this or like this, but as a starter you need to hold it like this, right, while you put the second hand here so you can be able to steer, all right, and get it back without leaving your hand. Now while you have your left holding it in place here, you want also depress the brake once again. Then you shift this shifter from reverse to drive, and it's gonna confirm it by telling you that it's on the drive by the by the cluster gauge confirmation right there. Then from this moment onward, you can go ahead, while holding the steering, you can go ahead and gently releasing your leg from the brake, and you start feeling the car moving. Then you go ahead and start steering it, especially if you are within a very little valley. So at this very point right now, you let go of your leg completely and the car is moving. Now for automatic transmission system, you don't need two legs to drive the car. It's only one. You shift it to accelerate, and you move it back to brake if you need to brake. Just gently press it. As you can see, it is still on drive. You don't need to touch it any longer as soon as you shift it into drive, and you can use the left and right to steer it. This brake, you need to be very gentle with it, because if you step on it once, it's gonna, like, you know, pull you away from the seat. So gently apply the brake, and when releasing it, you should also gently release it. You should feel the car start moving. As you can see right now, the car is in motion. So now that's it. Let's say that you're coming in front, there is a bump somewhere which you can see right there. You need to step on the brake pedal a little bit and negotiate and get out of that bump. Then you release your leg fully out of it again. Now this time when you released, now you want to go ahead and step on the gas pedal while you make sure that you're using your two hands to steer the car. The first trick you need to understand about learning how to drive is to make sure that you keep the car moving and maintain your lane. Like in this very lane here, there is no marking to show you that the road is demarcated. So how do you actually determine how to maintain your own lane? That is where you need to use your own brain to divide the road into two places and make sure, in as much as American spec or European spec, you need to make sure that you're within the half of the road. Let's say it's a road that is not an express, I mean dual lane, dual carriage, you should be able to allow the incoming vehicle to pass you without hitting your window or touching your car. Now so while you step on it, the car is going to be changing gear from one gear to another. Now I want to teach you one other thing here. The next thing which I want to teach you, which I suppose you need to understand, is how to reverse. So how do you reverse? That reverse is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. So here, before you reverse, like me, you want to gently bring the car to stop while still leaving it in gear, while still leaving it in drive. Do not remove it from drive, just step on it. Since it's automatic transmission system, the car is actually going to stop and still be waiting for you. Once you start releasing your leg, the car will start moving. Now the next thing which you want to do, so if suppose you want to reverse, and it's the best practice which I'm going to actually advise you to do, is to drive within a road where is somewhat empty. And now let's get to it. We have a bunch of bad road in our front, as you can see right there. So how do we turn? We want to make sure that the area where we want to turn from is wide enough to actually accommodate us. So in so doing, you want to tilt your steering to the right where there are more road where you're going to use, or maybe a place, and you go ahead and steer it back to left where you are about to turn to. And you can see right now I'm not going out of the road. I successfully turned without getting to stop, because I calculated exactly how much space I need to take. And this is actually going to be much more easier for you if you're driving a Mercedes or BMW, because your turning angle is quite shorter compared to that of Toyota. So let's say at this very point now, if you're moving up a hill, the car is not going to be rolling very fast, right? But the good safety measure you have to adapt when driving a car is you have to keep your eyes 80% of your attention on the road, 10% on the mirror, the other 10 on your cluster gauge. There are a lot of people who drive car without once a while glancing at the cluster gauge. At this very point right now, you can see that the car is just revving below 6,000 RPMs, and in as much as it's revving that, you can see that the motion is just very little, it's just going. So 80% focus on the road is the kill shot. Why? Sometimes you need to glance at the side mirror to see the car that is actually passing you by and the car which you just passed, because when you do that, then pretty much you are on the right side. Then why I say you should focus on the road, also you need to use your own head to mark the road, to divide it into two if it is not marked, like in this very one here, because that's the most difficult route to actually drive in. Why keeping, all right, to make sure you are using the half which is belonging to you. Now you also want to keep the car from getting out of the road. You can see there are blocks there are some things around which you need to look at here while driving. Then the other tip which I also want to give you is your confidence. The greatest driving tip is to drive home safely. All right, if you have every skills and every courage and you can be able to drive the car, then it doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't be too scared. You want to start little by just, stepping as if you're not even stepping on the gas pedal. I suppose there is something to actually measure the angle of the car right now. Like I said, you see, I share the half of my road, and you see this car actually passed without trying to horn for me. So that's to say that I'm actually in a very good position. I choose carefully where I'm driving. Now you can see there is a pothole. So here, how do you measure that? There is the end part of the hood right there which your eye is gonna be aiming, and that is what you should be able to use to measure where the other side of the passenger side of the tire in front is gonna be stepping on, so your car doesn't get out of the road. So we're gonna be making another turn in front again. Let's say for a shorter road where there is no a very big space for you actually to turn, what should you do? I'm gonna be using this very one here to illustrate it. And here I don't have much place to turn, so what I'm gonna be needing to do, if you can see the space that is here. There is no way I'm gonna turn in one hand. So at that, you're gonna step on the brake as usual to bring the car to a stop, then think logically on how to be able to do that. But for good drivers who are already expert, they will not need to stop completely. What they need to do is just to brake a little bit, then utilize the last part of the road here, then steer to the right. Before doing that, you want to make sure you stare at the back mirror to make sure that the rear mirror to see there is no any car coming. Then you turn fully. Now you can see that the road has ended here. So what do I need to do right now? Now why I say you should pay attention to the cluster, because if you don't pay attention, if you pay attention, there is a beep that just makes sound right now, which is a sign that that I'm running out of gas. So if you don't pay attention to here, there is a lot. It's meant to actually give you a lot of information. So if you don't glance upon it once a while, there is a lot of information which you're going to be missing, which is going to endanger your car, which is going to create a lot of expensive fix. So here, back to the reverse. Now that it's here, I need to shift this very shifter, press it and shift it to neutral, then reverse. Then kindly, before start letting go of my foot that I have on the brake, you want to go ahead and steer this car from left to right, depend on how you're turning, and that is gonna still have your leg on the brake. Don't let it completely out so it doesn't draw out very fast. So once you have balance and you can see the front just like I'm seeing it right now, Then you want to go ahead and step on the brake again, still hold down the brake, then shift this shifter back to drive. Now the car will start going, so you're gonna go ahead and return the steering. Most good steerings, if they are well aligned, you should be able to return by itself. This is electrical assisted and it's good, and it's actually on the center point. So there you go. You can go ahead. When you started mastering how to keep the car straight from, and that is where you can go ahead and give yourself a rev and move the car like a pro. But this is gonna take you time. It's not gonna be something that you can just master it within a day, because there are two things you have to understand. When you started hitting the gas pedal hard, the car can swerve out of your hand, and that is why you need to really grab the steering strong. I want you to understand something here. Once you start a car and the car is in motion and you're revving the car at a speed, your life is in your hands and on your foot, because that is what you all need to bring this car to a stop and to, steer it from getting out of the road, steer it from hitting the next incoming car or damaging anyone's property or life. So your life is in your hand and on your foot. And don't forget what I told you at this whole time I was teaching you. You see, that's why they make this other side to be bigger. Or I mean the stepping foot, there is a foot stepper here which you need to step the second leg so it stays there. You only use one leg to drive, to alternate between the throttle pedal and the brake pedal. So guys, I hope you understand this very clearly. Now, if suppose your car is a DSG, which is a dual clutch system, which you can see right here, you see plus and minus. What you need to do here is it's telling you, since it's here, it's telling you that this shifter is going to be here before it's going to engage in that. And since it's still on the automatic system, that is why you're seeing park, reverse, neutral, drive, and sport. So in this case here, we're not going to be going to this sport mode today. So let's go ahead and shift it to this, and automatically you can see it started telling you that this car currently is on gear 1. So, and you have gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, gear 5, gear 6. If you have mastered driving automatic, then that is where you should be able to go into driving manual. For some car makes, they have a shifter paddle here which you have left, which you have negative or positive, or positive here, negative here, which is how it's engineered. Just like you can see here, positive on the front and negative. So negative is to reduce the gear, while positive is to add the gear. So let's go ahead and give this one a try a little bit, which is here. When you let go of your feet, you drive, you step on the gas pedal, it's gonna be waiting for you to shift the gear, so you just tap it, it has gone into gear 2. You move again, then when it's time to take it to 3, you tap it, it goes to 3. This is gonna take quite a very good practice. And when you started slowing down, let's say that you're coming to a very dead end or a bad road, then you want to go ahead and step on the brake gently and return and tap it, and you're gonna see it come back to 1. I hope that is very resourceful and helpful. You need to do a lot of practice on how to shift it using here, because in doing that, you're going to be having one hand here has to be very good at actually keeping the car moving straight, and you have to do this without looking at the shifter. You have to do it. If you're still looking at the shifter while shifting it, then you need more practice. You need to do a lot of practice to be able to shift it. Just equip it in your mind. You don't have to double shift, just, simple. All right, and it goes in. Now, most of the cars are very, very intelligent. Like now, it's on 2 because the car actually knows that it can be on 2. But if you tap it even more, it's not going to move, because the car is waiting for you to attain some certain level of speed before you can change it to from 2, which you can see right now. Even if you tap it, that's intelligent car for you, intelligent. So even if you tap it more, it's not going to change from this 2 to 3 until you have reached some certain parameter of speed, because normally 3 wouldn't be able to move this car. That is why the computer wouldn't allow you to even move it more by tapping. But you can reduce it, which you can just tap it back and you see it coming back to gear 1 right there. And if suppose you want to do a reverse in this very dual clutch system, you want to hold it again, swipe it to here, then move it to reverse, then you're ready to reverse. So guys, I hope you find this very helpful. Do more practice, because the more practice you practice with it, the more you improve your drivability and your handling with the steering, as much as getting used to the braking. The braking, you don't have to step on the brake all the way, except, I mean, you have to step on it gently, like smooth, like, you know, like as if you're not even moving your leg in the first place, just little, be feeling it. You shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't be like an impact, just a little bit, just the same way you handle the throttle, that is how you handle the braking. All right, if you have any question further, drop it at the very drop it on the comment section below. But if you need my assistance, go ahead and go to my web page, my blog page, and drop me comment section there. But before you drop any comment, make sure that you are my subscriber. If you're not my subscriber, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna reply to your comment. I hope you find this very helpful. I have to catch you guys later. Good luck with your learning how to drive. This is Dr. Cool Auto Fix. Bye for now. I catch you later.